Hello and happy Saturday from the Hill City. It's an ODAC showdown between the Lynchburg Hornets and the Virginia Wesleyan Marlins. I'm Joe Brennan, joined alongside my good friend and partner Chris Jennings, back in town after the Hornets had a little bit of a road trip. Lynchburg in those games on the road went 1-2, a big-time win at Denison, a top 20 team. Then the Mustang Classic didn't necessarily go as planned as Lynchburg. They dropped that first game against the 14th overall Stevenson Mustangs, 8-14. Then the chance for redemption against Christopher Newport, a really close game. Nevertheless, a Christopher Newport victory over the Hornets. Not time to panic quite yet if you're Lynchburg. Nevertheless, a big game here today. And Virginia Wesleyan can really cause a little bit of panic if they can come away with a victory today, Chris.
Absolutely, and today I think after the Hornets had a good road trip where they started off over at Denison, over in Ohio, starting the road trip off with a victory, but two hard games on back-to-back days at the Mustang Classic in Baltimore. That is probably the hardest pair of games that anyone in the country can go up against. Not just saying that it's a CNU Stevenson double, but the Mustang Classic, the Callum Robinson Mustang Classic, is one of the premier events in all of college lacrosse, and you're always going to have to play two top 20 teams. The reason why Coach Kudelka does this is so that way the Hornets are ready to go at the end of the year when you have to play those back-to-back games, the first and second round, the quarterfinals and semifinals. On the way, you have to beat good teams to get to the national championship, and that is what Coach Kudelka does, is challenge those guys. Something that I saw at the Mustang Classic is that, especially on that second day against Christopher Newport, is a team that did not quit. Coach Kudelka always talks about you want to play your best lacrosse in May. However, this is a great opportunity for Virginia Wesleyan, a hungry team that's building momentum, is coming in here to try to shock the world.
And it should be a fun one, the conference opener for both of these sides. Let's take a look at what they've done this season from the non-conference standpoint by the numbers. Lynchburg's offense has been extraordinarily explosive to begin the campaign. 12.6 goals per contest, assisting on roughly half of those. But what really sticks out is the ground balls. They've done an excellent job on the carpet this year.
Yes, you can see that when Lynchburg's offense is moving, it's when they are assisting each other and spreading the wealth around.
And they've got big-time playmakers on really all three levels. But the guy we've got our eye on today is Liam Holman for the Hornets. He's had a really strong start to the campaign, the team leader in points thus far.
Yeah, Liam does a great job. He is someone who last year was a stretch shooter with the left hand. This year you can see that he's a little bit more well-rounded. He can go to his right. He's looking to feed, and he's no longer just that lefty shooter, catch and score type of guy.
Holman with 4 goals and 4 assists in the last 2 contests. Had 2 goals in each of those respective games. 3 assists against Stevenson, which really stood out. That's half of his yearly total. But this is a Virginia Wesleyan team that also has big-time playmakers, most notably running the point. It's the attackman, Ben Andrews.
Yeah, Ben Andrews does a great job. You can see he likes to score. He likes to put the ball in the back of the net. He's averaging just under 3 goals per game, shooting about a 30% shooting clip right now, and that is something that's really going to be cool to see.
1 assist as well. And all of those points really coming in transition. But we've also seen guys like Quincy White and other short stick midi really get involved. Here's an opportunity for the Marlins. And what a save! Right on the doorstep, but a brick wall of Miller says no.
Yeah, Andrew Miller does a great job of staying big and not giving up anything right there.
We had the shot clock reset, resuming action after the brief pause. And what a stop right there from Miller on the doorstep. A guy that is making his first season start this year between the pipes as a senior. And we've really seen him gain more confidence as the season goes along, especially that Salisbury game, Chris.
Yes, Andrew Miller is a guy who's been He's been in the program for the past 3 years, puts in the work every day, and something that you're going to get when you're at Lynchburg is there's no time to get welcome to the sport of lacrosse, of college lacrosse, with a couple cupcakes starting off the year. Andrew Miller got thrown right into the fire, and that is something that this coaching staff feels confident he's able to handle.
Yeah, and we go back and talk about that Salisbury game. That was tied for his season high in saves this year. It was the first at the time. He's since matched that against Stevenson. But he's had double-digit saves 3 of the last 4 games, and that only outlier, he had 9, where 9 was his season high before that Salisbury game. So you can tell he's really starting to figure it out. But also, he's had a great opportunity to really gel with this young defensive unit. And when I say young, not necessarily by class, but more so experience.
Yeah, this is a defensive unit that's come in with limited starts, but still a lot of experience in the program.
Nevertheless, you can really see that they're starting to get their bearings. And when I got the opportunity to talk to Sam Steele, who's one of the older guys in that group, he was saying holding Denison to 1 goal in the first quarter was really a turning point for this defensive unit, where they were able to realize we can do this. And that's a big thing. Confidence is half the battle.
Yes, and when they're playing confident and they're talking on the field, the communication's the big thing, and they gel as one defense. They're pretty much one of the best defenses in the country, and they're going to give up shots like that, and Andrew Miller is going to save those all day long.
He's been a vacuum thus far. Now Quincy White out in transition. He'll take it across the timeline, and Lynchburg will slow down and set up their half-field offense.
Something to watch for today is that I think Coach Kudelka is going to definitely look to get maybe a little bit more fluidity between the first and second lines of this Lynchburg Hornet offense. Try to become a deeper team, because the deeper teams are the ones who are the most successful come the rest of the stretch and going into this ODAC play coming up.
Without a doubt, and there's certainly a whole lot of talent in the midfield unit. That's something that we've seen every single game so far this year. As here's a dodge from Holman, plays it back, shot on goal, another save made by the keeper. And what's really fascinating is this midfield unit has been majority of the offensive production this season, really led by preseason second-team All-American Jake Rust.
Jake Rust is a perfect complement to Liam and Holman. The two of them are great shooters.
Right on cue, it's a 1-2 punch, and it's Rust from way downtown.
Something that you're going to have to pay attention to there is that Jake Russ is a great right-handed shooter. Liam Holman's a left-handed shooter, so you can't really favor one side if you're the Marlins defense, and they're able to exploit that right there.
Lynchburg tabs the first goal of the afternoon, 4.5 minutes into the contest here today. And once again, we go back to talking goal of the afternoon. Marlins take a timeout. We'll step aside momentarily. Stick with us.
Studying and practicing skills outside of class time. In the Sports Medicine Clinic in Turner Gymnasium, you'll work with student athletes
and
from
we
more
welcome
than
you
20
back into
NCAA
Schellenberger Field. The Lynchburg offense quickly heating up. 2 goals within 30 seconds. And a face-off lacrosse player. And oftentimes those guys have great stick skills right on the doorstep. They're so used to trying to find those narrow spaces to sneak it past the... A fight for the loose ball, won by the Marlins.
Have a string attached to every. Coach Feintuck is someone who really likes the pace of play. Him and Parker Seeley do a great job. That's a great job by Riley Hastings. He gets to his strong side. That time they slow played it, but never actually went to Frankel, and that's why he's able to bury that.
I mean, you've had 2 specialty guys with a goal today with your short stick, the best they've looked all season.
Absolutely.
Down, this one will be against the Marlins, so Lynchburg can settle. Another flag is out.
It almost looks like they're out of sync and they don't know exactly what to do. We'll see. It looks like they're out of sync and they don't know exactly what to do. We'll see if they can start to fix it as the year goes on. This is something that great shot by Charlie Evans, but you have one that's a little bit earlier. Great shot by Charlie Evans, but you have one that's a little bit earlier. That was sort of a rush shot when Lynchburg. That was sort of a rush shot when Lynchburg's moving the ball. You get those wide open looks. Moving the ball, you get those wide open looks, and that's what Charlie Evans had. He has a great shot. Looks, and that's what Charlie Evans had. He has a great shot. credit to the Marlins keeper. He makes a
provide a spark of offense in most instances.
And especially on that man-up opportunity. That is something that I didn't even know he had in his arsenal.
Jake Rust certainly a lethal shooter, and I'll tell you right now, he understands it now. He understands it now. Absolutely locked in. This one played back. I mean, he's probably the strongest dude on this team right alongside Quincy White. I mean, he could probably bench press my weight and squat your weight. I mean, this guy's unreal.
Yeah, he's a big time.
Well, the wheels are certainly going in the right direction, and that first goal feels like a snowball that has since turned into an offensive avalanche for the Hornets, up by 8.
And that is a great shot from Drew Schmidt. They've just been on a roll.
And once again, you go back to that Denison game, Jake Rust with, I think it was 4 goals in that first quarter, here with 3 thus far. I mean, it's really been in the first quarter. Lynchburg in firm control, up by 9.
No, I think that one might have been Tangway that was able. To get that one in. 56, lefty on the run.
Good eyes.
You get Carter Bez there, feeding it to Charlie Evans right on the doorstep and finishing that one. And you have a lot of other ones.
So with that, we'll step aside. Lynchburg up by double digits here through one quarter.
Your greatest
And we welcome you back into the Hill City. We apologize for technical difficulties, but no need to fret. We got a talented crew working on it as we speak. With that being said, if you've missed a little bit, here's what it's been. All Lynchburg offense. Dominant play on the defensive end where they've caused turnovers, successfully cleared it time in and time out, and turned that into transition scoring or patient offense with beautiful passing to create great looks.
Yeah, this Lynchburg offense looks like it. I don't know what Coach Kudelka did this week in practice, but they look rejuvenated after that past week.
And that's exactly what you need out of a group that has stumbled out of the gates to a certain extent.
To really dip and dunk right there.
Oh, what a check, but somehow hanging on. Now the Marlins with a good chance to score. They had numbers, decide to pump the brakes. And you think that's just you want to value possessions at this stage with, most of the shots you've gotten off today have been in transition, but you haven't found success with it, and then Lynchburg able to come back right the other way. Do you want to slow them down a little bit?
Yes. Best offense, sometimes really good defense. Keeping the ball out of Lynchburg's hands, out of their sticks, is going to be something that's going to slow them down, hopefully get them out of rhythm. And now the big thing for Virginia Wesleyan is they have to capitalize on these situations and value the possession, maybe give up good shots, that way that they can get great shots.
Good chunk right there from the midi. This is physical defense, and the sidelines loving it.
And as much as Virginia Wesleyan wants to sort of get a goal here to start things off, give them a little bit better of momentum is really hard with this suffocating defense that Lynchburg does have as they get a shot clock violation.
Great play made right there by Meadows alongside Harlacher. Those two just suffocated a blue jersey, but right there another turnover. This one snagged by Daniel Dewing. Now the Marlins with another chance. Miller once again gets in front of it.
And I'm really looking for Miller to have a great game here today. He continues to get better and better as games go on, but also as the season's gone on. It looks like he's playing a little bit more confidence than last time we were here on Schellenberger Field. Obviously, that Salisbury opponent was someone that they came in and they peppered him, but the thing that Coach Kudelka likes is how are you going to respond to adversity? How are you going to respond when someone punches you in the face and you get knocked down? And Andrew Miller's done a great job of really stepping back up and saying, that's fine, I'm ready to go again.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. We have seen great adversity, not just from him, but really this whole unit, as there's a shot on goal from Ruffalo. Once again, Miller's right there.
And he's just continuing to stay big. That is something that the Virginia Wesleyan player was falling down, and that is something that if you're Andrew Miller, you're fine with that. Every once in a while, one of those weird goals will go in, but if you're having your defense, the 6 guys in front of you, give up shots like that, give up shots from the outside or low angles, he's going to eat those up all day long.
Now it's Ben Andrews trying to get involved. It's been a quiet afternoon for him. Dished over to Auxier, who sends it over the top pipe. Shot clock at 38. He'll go to the top of the box, right back around to Andrews. Step down. Oof. Went right into Sealy. Absorbed the blow. Right back on his feet in the face of Andrews. I mean, you talk about getting punched and having a good response. There's a great example of it.
Yes, and Parker Sealy's a really tough kid. I think he definitely enjoys the physical contact, but that one looked like it may have hurt.
First goal of the afternoon, Parker Lewis climbs the ladder, high to low, sneaks the first one past Miller.
And that was a great shot by Lewis. He gets it high to low on Andrew Miller's right-hand side. With Miller being a lefty goalie, sometimes that is hard for teams to adjust to because most of the time you're going against a right-handed goalie. So maybe that one will allow the Marlins to gain a little momentum. But once again, great shot. Tough one for Andrew Miller to let in, but I think he's still got to be ready to go, and he's been playing great so far.
Yeah, quite the acrobat. A decade as a SEAL team officer. So a big thank you to him and his service for our country. But you can imagine this team's probably got a change between the pipes, between quarters. That is something that I failed to mention. It is Kevin Velasquez Delgado, the 6'5" sophomore out of Chapel Hill, and he's had a strong start thus far. We've seen a couple of shots on goal. He has not let anything past him quite yet. And there's the first turnover. This is a great response from Virginia Wesleyan, and Kudelka's not too happy about it. Looks like he's going to take a timeout. Yes, he will. What a start to the second quarter for the Marlins. They got their first goal of the day, looking for more. Lynchburg up by 9.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind. Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
Lynchburg likes to come back, as you saw multiple times throughout the year. When they get down, they have a response. Other teams will have a response as well.
I will say, throw the shots out the window. I think the statistical categories that we need to keep an eye out for Virginia Wesleyan to really get back into this game are turnovers in terms of limiting. Clears is a big thing as well. They've really struggled to get the ball. I also will say, busy day here.
He's always finding ways, little small holes in the rules. He was trying to sweep underneath so that way he could get in their head, and that can be a real game changer.
Ground ball picked up by the Marlins.
Able to cause that turnover, so that goal really starts with him, cause defender to knock it down without it being an over and back. And
I'd like to see Finn Schmidt make something happen. He's had a relatively quiet afternoon. Here's him sweeping a guy.
Some could say that.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I mean, I wouldn't.
Some could say that.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a LeBron guy, but he's my GOAT.
It's okay. Everyone has their wrong opinions.
Okay.
That's yours.
Okay. I mean, who's your GOAT? And you can't say Steve Kudelka.
I mean, he is, but there's been a couple times where Coach Kudelka and I in the backyard playing a little knockout. I've knocked him out a couple times in that game, but he doesn't like to admit that.
I can imagine. Hornets will take it from X. Up by a dozen. He's curling around, plays it back up top. Cam Ash now with it. Extra pass, and Velasquez once again with a nice stop.
And something that you've seen out of this Hornet offense today is the changing of planes. There's not been a whole lot of high-to-high, stick-side shots. It's either going off stick or going high to low, low to high, whatever it is, has allowed them to be successful, something that they weren't doing earlier in the year.
Daniel Dewing absolutely trapped into a
Team of shot placement, then Charlie Evans. He does a great
Nathan Miller, obviously the younger brother of Lynchburg goalie Andrew Miller. Who honestly, I wonder, do we see Miller come out of the goal in the second half, or are we still didn't watch it all the way in?
that, and
You got to. Seconds left.
On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do, be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
In NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle.
Will you? Will you?
A good city.
We're like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics. Being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love.
And we welcome you back into the broadcast. Once again, we apologize for technical difficulties. We're having a school-wide Wi-Fi outage outdoors in all the venues. It's seemingly okay in all the buildings, but our venues at softball, baseball, and lacrosse here experiencing some difficulties. We're still troubleshooting with it. We'll continue to try and figure it out as the game progresses. Nevertheless, we appreciate you sticking with us if it's worked. I haven't put eyes on it, but you know, we've always got the Lacrosse TV, but it's probably the same issue across both platforms. Nevertheless, Lynchburg out by 14, up by 14 here in the second half. I mean, Chris, can we break it down? What's been the biggest disparity between these two sides?
I think obviously one of them is going to be shots on goal, 25-4. Lynchburg's ahead. Another thing is turnovers, 12-5. Virginia Wesleyan has over double the amount. And then one thing that I think's really been a standout is the assists. Lynchburg 9, Virginia Wesleyan 0. Obviously, Virginia Wesleyan only has one goal, but assisting on almost about 60% of the goals today is a big thing for Lynchburg, considering coming into the game they're just under half, about 49%.
Yeah, it's been a strong day for Lynchburg, really all over. Clearing-wise, too, I mean, 6 for 7, only 5 turnovers. Like, it's just been a clean brand of lacrosse, as there's some shifty stick work by the Marlins. Nevertheless, once again, they just can't hang on. It's going to be a battle for it in the near side corner. Who can get his stick on it and goose it away? Beautiful pickup right there.
And here's the
what a quick move right there from Hogg.
And I think that just shows Colby Hogg played in several games last year in a big-time role. He keep the foot down on the gas, but you also want to make sure execute to the highest level possible, and that is something that he's not going to be upset with. That it's not showboaty.
It's on it, but it's Aiden Freeland, the junior goalkeeper, standing at 6'2", 230, out of Alexandria, Virginia.
These Virginia Wesleyan keepers are all big guys.
Yeah, they just tossed that one away in the far corner. Yeah, they just tossed that one away in the far corner. Allow them to get back in position here for a ride. And this has been really an Achilles heel today for Virginia Wesleyan, struggling with clears. And once again, Fowler now giving them issues. Still all over them. Loose ball picked up by the Hornets. Once again, it's Fowler causing the turnover.
Yeah, and this Lynchburg offense, something that Coach Kudelka takes a lot of pride in is riding. He wants to cause that havoc in spring on Schellenberger Field. I think something you see the cherry blossoms here in Virginia, but you also know, too, that's a nice escape from lacrosse, from school, able to connect on a different level and just have better on the passing aspect. It's a lot more better on the passing aspect. It's a lot more stick-to-stick type passes, and they're able to put it right on the head like you want it right in the box, right above your right shoulder and around your helmet. Turnovers numbers down, and those are extra possessions that you're going to have with a little bit a further shot than he's normally used to.
What I'll call the Blue Bloods, which is W&L, Lynchburg. What I'll call the Blue Bloods, which is W&L, Lynchburg, Roanoke, Hampton, Sydney, Roanoke, Hampton, Sydney, and then you have Randolph Macon, really kind of hovering right around that group. In the Lynchburg and the W&Ls consistently having success. It's really banged up to begin the year. Quincy and Parker felt like the only two guys that were healthy to really start the season. We've seen Ethan get involved. We've seen Connor Moore as well. Another guy that had a little bit of issues with injuries. Nevertheless, you know, they've still got guys that are banged up, which is the crazy part. But it's great to see Ethan back out there. He's one of our LHSN's finest. Good to see him tab his first goal of the season. Split dodge down the far alley, snapped his ankles in the process, played it back up. Brody Mason stopped. Beautiful save made by the keeper. I've got to keep track. I keep losing these keepers because we've seen so many. Aiden Freeland. We've seen 5 goalies in today's game.
Yeah, and I think that is something, obviously, Lynchburg in a little bit of a different scenario.
Yeah.
Splitting the halves, it seems like, is what Coach Godelko is going to do between Allen and Miller. But I think Virginia Wesleyan maybe, yeah, and I think that they're going to continue to look at this. I know that Wednesday night's going to be a big one. Not trying to look too far ahead here, but with Hampton-Sydney coming in.
And then you got to turn around 3 days later and go to Lexington. Got to turn around 3 days later and go to Lexington to play the Generals. And there's Washington. Oh, sorry. There a couple of weeks of the season, it was that they felt like they were playing exceptionally well down the alleys, and then it was topside over coming across the box, those sweeping shots. That were really causing issues, and which is interesting because that's something they do so well as an offense. So you would think when they have to face that day in and day out, that would be their strongest suit, but it's really just the defensive alignment.
Yeah, and I think that was a great play by Virginia Wesleyan there on the defensive side. Obviously, what they're looking.
They would have done anything in the tournament. They would have been out in the. The 8. But we got a new head coach. Nevertheless, a good celebration from the sideline. They're certainly still having fun.
And I think that's real important. Maybe they're trying to cool off, even though it's not too hot of a day, but obviously warmer than we have seen all year.
Oh, crafty stick work.
Card to make that catch, running away from the pass, sort of looking over his shoulder. Hard to do, but
and these guys are fighting right now. I mean, it is a battle in a 18-goal game. You still got guys putting their bodies on the line and really giving it everything they've got. You'll love to see it. To 3. It's been an offensive clinic from Lynchburg.
Ryan does there.
And my apologies, Rocky River, Ohio, rather than Pennsylvania. Goal. A lot of movement and cutting in this Lynchburg offense, more so than we've seen all.
Up a man doesn't mean that your feet can all of a sudden become cement. You're going to look to keep the feet moving like they were that you mentioned earlier, and so that way you can draw a man and get that skip pass to open up.
There's the skip pass, and it opens up. Colby Hogg, a hat trick on the afternoon. He's the second Hornet with 3 goals.
Great shot by Colby. Even better pass to get the skip pass, but that's not just where it ends. It's the one more right after it that leads to the shot by Colby.
Five Hornets with multiple goals. Tangway, Evans, Vandenberg with 2. Hogg and Rust each with a hat trick.
And Hogg is shooting at 100% today.
Yeah, how about that? 3 for 3. It's a pretty good day.
Can't get much better.
4 for 4?
Yeah. I mean, I was just talking percentage-wise.
5 for 5.
We'll see. I know that Colby likes to share the well, so maybe he'll get an assist to tack on today.
If our normal director was here and Josh Smith, I would say, it's better than 5 for 5, 6 for 7, but he's not here today. Coming across the top of the box, this one goes to the back line. Playing it back, step down, there he is, right on cue. Drew Schmidt, the freshman, slots it through.
And that's a great job by Charlie Evans, seeing that everyone's coming to him and not necessarily looking ahead, but also looking behind him for a possibility of an extra pass so that way Drew can finish that one home.
Yeah, you can see the feed right there, eyes in the back of his head, and a trailing Drew Schmidt converts in a transition opportunity to put Lynchburg up by 3 touchdowns. I mean, it looks like a football score.
Ooh. I think the good thing, though, it looks like it's not his head or neck area. It might be his knee that he got tangled up there at the end, just sort of getting bent the wrong way.
Thank them for the scones. Thank them for the scones.
Oh, those are the best.
Those scones. Oh, my goodness.
Those are the best.
Those scones. Oh, my goodness.
That was something that I learned from All-American Evan Lombardo, class of 19. He loved the scones pregame, and that was something that I found myself doing rather often, especially for a Saturday afternoon game. You get in there for a brunch. It's the best.
I'm going to go there with like a Home Depot bucket, just fill it full of scones.
I think you're only allowed to take one out, but maybe if
I'll
you
take
talk
one
to Miss
at a time.
Maybe if you talk to Miss Claudia, she'll help you out
I'll
there.
do a couple of trips. Charlie Evans' underhand scoop shot is through. 22 goal lead for Lynchburg with 9.5 to go.
And he becomes a hat trick of players. Chicken.
The orange chicken
is that's some of the best stuff in town.
Yeah, I mean it's not like it's gourmet orange chicken by any means, but
the people back there,
the job done.
They make it a different way that it just hits right.
Yeah, there's something about it. I'm big on
it just hits right.
Yeah, there's something about it. I'm big on those chicken thighs
all day long, as they have. It looks like another goalie in the net for them. Looks like their 4th of the day.
Yeah,
and I think that it almost looks like they're starting to lose a little bit of hope in this contest so far. We'll see what the Hornets do as time's starting to click down. I presume that they'll really milk the shot clock and then maybe look for a shot at the end or just dump it into the corner.
I can't get a pinpoint on numbers, or is that a 14?
It might be. I know it ends with a 4 from our angle.
So it might be Blake Howell. That seems to be the case. The 5'9", 160-pound freshman out of Jarrettsville, Maryland. For a team that's got a whole lot of big goalies, they've also got a handful of guys that are not as big. They also have Alan goes in the cafeteria.
One of my favorite Coach Kudelka stories is Craig Kester, class of 19. He had ice cream before a workout, and
now the Hornet could really do it. I mean, that's the team that could really do it. I mean, that's the team that is sitting at 15th right now. Which is honestly an interesting spot to be of those top premier programs, like a Christopher Newport, like a Salisbury, stronger than Stevenson. And if Lynchburg had played like they did against CNU against Stevenson, they most likely would have come away with a victory.
I absolutely agree. And you saw that the offense was closer to what it was like today against CNU than it was against Stevenson. And I think had the offense been clicking, looking for those extra passes, they probably would have come away with a win that day too and go maybe 1-1, if not 2-0, riding on the energy.
Open net, gotta let it rip. What a save! A diving play made by the sophomore keeper, Eric Allen. How do you do?
That is hashtag SportsCenter top 10 on that one.
Well, that will most likely. Do it. Lynchburg will probably just swing this one around the horn. 5-3. Lynchburg will probably just swing this one around the horn. 5-3 victory. Chris, final thoughts.
I think that this is definitely a great stepping stone, but as Coach Kudelka,
We had fun hanging out with you and hope you had a good time here with us. Till next time, I've been Joe Brennan alongside Chris Jennings, Micah Adams, our producer. I've been Joe Brennan alongside Chris Jennings, Micah Adams, our producer. We'll see you next time.